What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Today, I have a very special guest. Some of you should be following, well, all of you guys should be following, or some of you should be or are already. Kate, aka Salon Nerd. I love that name, by the way.
Thanks.
It's super adorable. And plus, like all your content is like about profits and like how to really get out from behind the chair. And like we don't need to just be stuck as an employee in our own business. We got this salon. We started this business for freedom, and unfortunately, it's not a reality for a lot of people.
Right.
So I love your message. I love everything that you say. So take us a little bit about how your journey was and how you got to like coach and where your love with finances, because I feel like you really understand and grasp the finance end of this business that a lot of people don't.
Right. My first job was a shampoo girl at a salon that I could walk to growing up. And I was like 15. So I just got everyone distilled water for, the overhead thing, and I swept hair. So that was my entryway into salons. And when I was 16, I worked for Posh, and they were posh, right? Like they were cool. They were pretty. They were like, it's funny because they were probably 23, but I was so young. I was 16. I was like, wow, they're like 40. You know what I mean? Like they felt so old, but they had everything I wanted. And that's when I was like, I want this. I want to be in salons. I want to own a salon. But the catch was, so I worked after beauty school, number one, I knew exactly what I was doing. I didn't need to train, right? Yeah. Well, that's how I felt. But in reality, I freaking need trained, because that like 1 end to 9 end just really wasn't cutting it in this long reality. But so I worked for a handful of salons, less than 5, but I'm glad that happened, because I got a feel for like what salons I liked, what I didn't like. And I picked up some great little things, like tidbits from salons. The one thing that I noticed is those salon owners like lived there. They lived there and they were stressed, and they were like revolving door aspect. And I thought to myself, are they here all the time because they have to be, or are they here because they want to? And I grew up with a single dad, and he put bread on the shelves. So, in the morning, he was gone from 4 a.m. to 1 in the afternoon. He could come home and wake me up and get me to school. And there's one thing that he taught me at a young age. He said, you'll never get your time back, because I would complain, but the neighbors have this and they just got all of this and they drive nice cars and we drive this van that is always breaking down. He said, honey, I'm here every day. I get to wake you up and I'm home from school. And like one of the things that you're going to learn is like, you can't replace your time or ever get it back. So like, that's what we buy. And so with that mindset going into what do I want to do with my life? I want to own a salon. My grandma owned a salon. This was her little sign, Josephine's Beauty Shop. And I thought, when I do this, I'm not going to create a life for myself that I have to be like a slave to my salon. And the industry teaches us to be a slave behind the chair, hair, skin, or nails. It's truly how we make money. So this mindset shift of going into salon ownership is like, well, wait a minute. I only make money when I do services. So how am I going to own the salon and like not do services to make money?
So true.
Mm-hmm.
You did nails?
I did. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so did you ever do hair?
Yeah, like beauty school, I went to do hair, and then I fell out of hair whenever the owner said I can have a chair in 3 months. I was like, godsend, thank you. I don't need training in what I'm doing. Yeah. She literally was like, day 90, Kate, you're up and running. That's when I was in the back room and I would get a men's haircut. I'm like, I'm sick. Like, don't, no. She taught me how to do nails because she was a nail tech, and that's where I learned like training matters.
I remember when I was a kid, my sister had a friend who lived with us, and she started doing nails. And like she always had money. And it was back in the day when like people made money doing nails, because it was like these little places didn't open up that were like kind of stealing some of the market share. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh my God. Then my sister started doing hair, and then she was making money. It was the same kind of thing like Posh. Like the guys had like Mercedes, and they were like nice clothes, and everyone had Gucci bags and Gucci belts and nice shoes. And then it was like such a facade because that was all their money. Mm-hmm. And then from even a stylist standpoint, like no one ever teaches us about budgeting. Like you're so irresponsible with money as 20 or 22-year-old young man or woman. Mm-hmm. And like now you have all this money because you're making 120,000 a year and you're mm-hmm. spending 150. Mm-hmm. And so then you get those bad habits, and then you're like, I'm going to make more money. I'm going to open a salon. And those bad habits go from you behind the chair to you now as an owner. And then they just get magnified because now you have access to more capital because your revenue is so big. And now you could borrow more money and then you just get put into a bigger hole. And I feel like this vicious cycle of like making more money, but then spending more and not truly understanding what your numbers are. And there's something that I love, like from Profit First, one of the books I read, and like Real Revenue. And like I learned this the hard way, in many stages of my career. And so when you sit down with a salon owner and they're like, Kate, I need help, I'm jammed up. Like, what's the first thing you like to look at with them? Like, where do you peel the curtains back to find the main constraint on their business when it comes to getting them away from behind the chair?
It's interesting. We hop on the phone with 40 to 50 calls a month. Do you know that I don't even know if half of the people can tell me how much they bring in a month? How much you bring in a month? Like, how much does your salon make a month, baby? Like, what is that top line number? So like, guys, we got to know like how much we're actually bringing.
Top line revenue. They don't know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Like that should be your heart, like that, because that means everything. So like, if you don't know if you did 10,000 last month or 20,000 last month, like we got to figure out how much we're making and like look at your sales. The second problem is that we only look at our sales because like sales only matter. That's only one part of the puzzle. So the next thing is we figure out how much you're spending.
That is what got me into a lot of trouble, was just focusing on revenue. Because $1 million salon, like I'm a millionaire.
Yeah.
Like it's, wow, I did it, right? It's like, I really did it. I'm like, why the fuck am I still so broke?
Right.
Like, why do I have to work 7 days a week just to make sure that I'm making like payroll for everyone? And it's just, you think you could spend $1 million when you have $1 million salon, when real revenue is like, it might be 400,000 after you pay your commissions, after you pay your front desk, after you cover any assistance that you have. And so you're really working with a fraction of that you should be using for expenses, not that $1 million. So I think that's what a lot of people go wrong when it comes to building and scaling a business, because they're going off of the wrong number.
Absolutely.
The fact that a lot of people don't even know what they're doing in top line revenue is crazy to me.
Right. And I always say like an ish, right? Like ish. And it still stumps them.
When I ask questions like that for people, I'm like, what do you, as an owner, I like to ask for a week. Like, what are you doing a week?
Okay.
And they're like, I'm like 80% booked. I'm like, no. I don't give a shit what you book. Like, give me a number, like a dollar amount. Are you a 3,000 a week booker, a 5,000 a week, like 1,000? Sometimes 3, like 12. I'm like, all right. Because I need to know so you can teach another stylist how to produce that behind a chair. And then like we could figure out, all right, you have 8 chairs or 10 chairs. You should be able to duplicate what you do behind the chair by being a good leader and at least get them to do 3,000 a week because you've been there before.
Absolutely.
And then if you do that, then you could have 10 people doing that. And then you should not be behind the chair anymore, because if you want to and you love it, yes. But then there's a lot of moving parts there. And so before I get into like that, there was an Instagram post that someone was leaving nasty comments on about commission salons. I didn't get to that post. Don't make sure I don't forget about that. James, make sure I don't forget about that. But I want to talk about like, what is your marker to get somebody away from needing to be behind the chair again? Like, take us through those phases of people. Like, what do you start with first?
Okay. So how much does your salon bring in and how much does your salon cost to run? And let's figure out like what we're making now. I don't care if you have 3 employees or 30 employees, or maybe it's just you. We have to make sure that our pricing is price to profit, because you can scale, can bring in more dollars, but if you're not making money off of that, 10,000 a month or even $100 a day, we're not going to make any money whenever your employees are bringing you money in. So we have to figure that out. And then similar to what you said is, how many employees do we need to take like one day off, right? Just to replace you. And that was the math that I needed to figure out with, okay, like, because I pay them a commission. So it's not just they bring in $1,000 a day, boom, I make $1,000 a day. Well, we pay them their commission, and then the salon might cost 20% to run. So there goes 200. And then what do we have left over with? So that's a really interesting understanding of how many employees do I need to take off 1 day a week, 2 days a week, 3 days a week for, and not to work anymore. We need them as many employees as possible, honestly, in order for you to own a salon and not have to do services in it. The employees are most valuable, but our highest expense.
It is. It's very true. And I think there's like the wrong idea of owning a business when you own a suite, and nothing against suites at all. Like it's really cool, but you still almost like own a job for yourself. And if you aren't able to grow a team, and this is the conversation I have because I posted something about, buying back your time and like being free from having to work behind the chair. When a lot of people messaged me about that, I was like, well, tell me about your salon. Well, I'm in a suite. Okay. Is it a 2-chair suite, a 3-chair suite? Like, how are you going to leverage someone else's time so then you could focus on growing the team, grow the business? I don't want a team. Okay. Well, then if you always need to trade your time for money, unless you have some other vertical of income coming in, like a laundromat, or you make a lot of money, you're going to have to keep trading.
That you could sell. Right.
Yeah. And so and that's another thing. Owners, like you sold a salon.
I did.
And 99% of owners can't sell the salon because A, it's not profitable without them, and it won't run smoothly without them. So the fastest thing you need to do as a salon owner is fire yourself as fast as possible from behind the chair. And this way, when you present it to a person who's going to buy your business, they can confidently buy a salon that's profitable and doesn't need you to run.
Right. And I think that like everyone listening to this, if you own a salon or a suite, you're an entrepreneur, and like think about it. We as entrepreneurs in the beauty industry don't think about this concept that we like an exit strategy. Whenever you talk to any other business owner who's in tech or small business, anything, like whenever they open, they think about their closing. Okay, if I open it, it's like real estate. If I buy this house, then how much can I sell it for? So I never thought about that. I also decided to sell my salon within less than a year. Mistakes. I should have thought about it sooner, so I could have made my numbers look sexier and sold it for more, right? I'm fortunate that I could have sold it. I sold it for what I did, but a lot of us, maybe you don't want to sell. Just like you didn't want to open a salon one day, or it just kind of fell into your lap. The same thing might happen to you whenever it comes time to sell. So if your numbers are ugly, you don't want to be crying home with $5,000 in your pocket after all those years of blood, sweat, and tears and time.
Here's something really amazing that I've heard. I think Alex Ramosi said it. I'm pretty sure it was him. Like a business that you built to sell, that was set up to sell it, is a great business to actually own.
Yeah.
Like if you have this thing set up where it doesn't need you and it runs efficiently and it's profitable, that's a great business. That's a great salon to own. Like you have everything in place, every system, every structure, all the money's accounted for, and and you could predict how much you're going to make next month within the couple percents, but that's a beautiful business to own. It's not stressful. So really, I know you love doing hair, but build this salon with the intention of selling it one day. And if you're like, I want to keep it in the family, the last thing you want to do if you love your kids is give them a failing business that's going to just stress them out like you're stressed too.
Right.
And so many people don't even like acknowledge the fact of it's a reality, and you've done it. And I love that you actually are a nail tech and you ran a hair salon, because we feel like we need to do hair in order to make the money, or I don't know anything about hair. No, it's a business. Whether you're doing it's a service. So people ask me, does it work for barbers? Do you cut hair? Yes. Do you provide a service? You could be a chiropractor. It's the same for any service. It doesn't matter. You have a team, you teach them to do the thing, they provide the service, you collect the money, make sure everything's paid.
Right.
And it runs smooth.
Right. And a lot of people who were interested in my salon, like they weren't service providers. So imagine like the only people shopping for your business. Oh, well, they have to do hair. They have to do skin. They have to do nails. They have to have 5 days a week to do hair, skin, or nails. Can't have kids, can't have a life because that's you, right? But when people were shopping for my salon, they saw my numbers. They're like, oh shit. So this is how much I'll make like just because I own it. Yeah. So it's just how much you'll make just because you own it. If ever all the employees will say we're making the same amount of money next month. So now imagine if they did hair, skin, or nails and brought in a service, they could multiply their income. Like think about who your pool is.
I remember because my dad was a hard worker. Like he worked 2 full-time jobs. I barely ever saw him. And that was ingrained in my DNA. My grandfather was the same way. So when I owned a business, I was like, I'm going to work every day, 7 days a week. And I was making crazy money. Like for me, crazy, like honestly, it was like a little over 30 grand a month behind the chair. That was good. Like that's decent money at the time.
Yeah.
But I was like, holy shit, I'm here every day. I was like, let me condense it down. Then I started learning. All right. My friend was like, why do you work like this? Don't you own a salon? He's like, what about your team? I was like, yeah, but like everyone wants to come to me. And I was like, what if they mess their hair up? He's like, fucking teach them how to do hair. Like do education. I was like, all right. And then it hit, like Then I looked at their numbers. I started focusing on them. And then all of a sudden, like they were hitting 3,000 a week, 4,000 a week. I was like, holy shit. Like you said, I don't need to work on a Sunday anymore or a Monday anymore, or I could work 3 days a week. And then it got to the point where I was like, then I brought e-commerce into it. And now I was like, I don't have to work at all. And it was really nice to change that focus from just being the service provider behind the chair to like, all right, how do I help them make more money? Because if you do that with your whole entire team, then you indirectly make more money.
Right.
So commission salons, I feel, are going to be more popular in the next few years than ever before. And they're going to get less of a bad reputation. I think because a lot of people went off on their own and they realized like, wow, this isn't as easy as I thought. And just because I'm booking $3,000 a week or $2,000 or whatever your number is, doesn't mean you keep all of that.
Right.
And so for an owner, I think our team or our commission salons, they look at us like we have all this money that comes into the salon. We throw it in the trunk of our car and then we bring it to our house and we count all the money up and we just spend it on ourselves. And that's just not true. But for that, what was that Instagram post that I saw you make a comment in your stories about it? I couldn't find it on your page. Like people were leaving nasty comments. Like I want to address it real quick.
The comments were icky. Like it was more and more people are leaving suites and moving back to commission salons. Like it's the truth.
It's fact.
And like, no, I did not chat GPT and get a percentage. I just know it from my personal experience. I have owners that I'm working with and have worked with who are, we talk all the time saying, hey, like I just hired a girl who was a suite owner for 4 years and is coming back to my salon. But think of a few things. There's a reason why they chose her salon and maybe not your salon or another salon. They're going to be really effing picky about where they go because they've gone through it. They've worked at a shitty salon, so shitty that they had to leave. And then figure out how I do this myself. Okay, well, I don't love that. So now they're like, who am I going to date next? It's like, this is like who they're going to marry, right? Been through a ton of crappy men. So let's go, let's find our person. They want to have values. They want to have systems. They want to have boundaries. They want to know that like expectations are met. So owners, how are you holding that interview with that person who has 16 years of experience, has been an employee and an owner? Like this is your time to shine and you can drop the ball quick if you look like you don't have your shit together.
Yeah, they'd see through the bullshit now.
Right. What
were some of the comments? I'm curious.
I would never go back to commission. Commission salons suck. Oh my God. Like, why aren't we saying, let's go girls? Like, I'm so happy that people are finding their home. And I wish that the industry would create more round of applause for the people who are finding success anywhere.
So I have like a very unique structure. I do a rev share split for my salon and it's independent. So they're commission based, but it's a rev share split. We have me as a partnership, my LLC, and then your LLC, we partner up on the revenue being brought in. I support you as an independent stylist. I provide marketing for you, front desk, and it's like we split the revenue. It's like almost like a partnership. So it's independent commission to make it easy to speak about. And it's the way I structure it's covered by all the ABC ruling. It's completely compliant. It just needs to be structured the right way. But I'm finding that as I speak to certain people, they're still independent. Like they don't want to file their own taxes. They don't want to to me, I think it's amazing. Like you could literally write off all your kids, you could write off your car, you could write off certain things and really make more money. But I think some people just want to do hair and go home.
Yeah.
And so I think that the employee mindset, even though like as entrepreneurs like me and you are, I feel like people are like, hey, I can make a good living doing this. And I'm starting to think now, hey, a 401k benefits, if you could really structure your salon to support people so they can be a truly supported employee, I think we're going to see a really big resurgence of that when it's structured the right way. But how do you feel about that? Like, where do you sit on that one?
I agree. I thought about that and how you structure your salons before a call. And I thought to myself that if I was to ask my employees if they wanted that, I think they would say no.
Yeah.
I think they would say, what we have going on is easy, right? And it's understood. They don't have to, they know exactly what to expect. So I always say, like, in the salon world, you can't have just a full team of like quarterbacks, like the football team wouldn't run, right? So like same, like not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur who's in your business. If they did, we wouldn't have a business.
I know. And I feel like I'm hitting this reawakening to myself. Cause my friend's like, dude, if everyone thought like you, they would have their own business. They don't fucking want it, Nick. Like, you like to work here. I love working. Like, I just enjoy it. And like, they don't like that, dude. Like, they want to be done at 8. They don't want to get on the computer and then look at their Google ads for 3 hours and try and optimize it. They
Right.
just don't want that.
Right.
I was like, why not? They're like, they're not fucking sick in the head. Like, no, people just like to cut hair and they want to get drinks with their friends. They want to go to yoga.
Yeah.
And so but also they need security. So I feel like being fiscally responsible with your money, I think as an owner, it's important for you to at least have education, not just on cutting hair and coloring hair, but teaching them how to invest their money, save properly. Because if your team is actually making good money, but they don't know what to do with it, they're going to be less stressed, right? If they know exactly what their retirement's like or what benefits are. And I think owners, we just think, hey, I need to teach you how to cut hair as an employee. And I think corporate America, they do a good job of like, hey, 401k match. And they give you the I guess, classes on what that means and how to handle your money. Whereas we don't really do that as much. Do you educate your team on like how to budget money properly and how to be fiscally responsible, maybe how to save to buy a house at all?
Not so much on how to like budget your personal expenses. I've had employees ask me for advice, and I tell them about how I've tried a lot of things personally, and I'm not like using something right now, but it's kind of off of the kind of like the profit first method.
Yeah.
Is like what I follow for my business, and I actually took it in my personal, but I just changed the categories to say like, this is how much I make, and this is how much I'm going to set aside for my personal spending. I give myself an allowance every month, and this is how much I spend. If I go over, at least I know why I went over, and I know where I'm pulling it from. But we've had financial advisors come into the business and do it like for a staff meeting and just talk to us about business and life and what the purpose is of having a 401k. So owners, you don't have to teach them anything about that. Like, why don't you outsource that and bring in professionals to talk to you and your team? You all can learn together.
Yeah, I love that. 100%. I love that. Because like, you're not going to give the proper information anyway. You're going to give a diluted regurgitation of what you learned from a ChatGPT conversation or like from someone's video.
Yeah. And sometimes it's cool to like sit on the bench with your team.
Yeah. That's actually another thing. Now you're on like, they look at you as a peer now too, which is, I didn't even think of that. That's awesome. What do you think of Dave Ramsey? You like Dave?
No, I don't really follow him.
No? All right. He has a really cool app and like, it's cool for business owners to give their team. It's like an app that you could help them budget and everything. And because I feel like our industry, like I was saying in the beginning of the conversation, some people make really good money and they're still broke. And it's just like so disheartening to be like, oh, you can't make money doing hair or nails. But the reality is you can if you just didn't spend every dollar before it came in.
Right. Or like count your tips.
My brother-in-law, he's probably not listening to this right now, but when I was talking about him the other day with a buddy of mine, he has a notebook and he writes down every single client, the tip he got, what his commission is on that. And at the end of the day, he adds his total. At the end of the week, he adds his total to the point where I don't even check it. Like, I just pay him. Oh my God, whatever it is. Like, I've done it so many times with my computer, and it's he's spot on. He's like, no, that's wrong. I'm like, what do you mean it's wrong? It's a computer. He's like, no. I'm like, holy shit, it got wrong out under that person. And I'm like, oh wow, you're right. Like, it's insane. And I think that that's a good habit to have. And so, as a stylist, if you start building your fundamentals with like money now, counting your tips, what's going on with your commission, what is there a service charge coming out, getting all of that dialed in so your brain works like that, when you go to open a salon, you already have the good habits and the strong foundation. Sure. Do you have a lot of new owners that come seek you out for advice or help or for coaching? Or is it
I typically work with owners who have the business already, but whenever I was at the spa conference, a woman walked up to me and said, hey, I just started in the industry. I'm an esthetician. I want to own a salon one day. Like, what advice would you give me? And I told her to do exactly what your brother-in-law does. I said, just start tracking every freaking appointment. You do have a notebook for a couple reasons. The habit of understanding like how many people you're seeing and what that's totaling each day. And then what you said earlier. So then whenever you are up here, it's so hard to think about like, how many clients did I see that first year in business or when I was an employee? I can't remember, but like, that's what we have to base our expectations for our employees on. So if you could have that data, you can see, okay, well, my first year I averaged, 6 people a week. Okay, well, great. Baseline. Your new employee should average, how do we make them average 6 people a week? Because that's what you did. So.
I love that. I love that a lot, actually. I was never like just a good fiscally responsible stylist because I was just so busy and I just collected the tips and I would have no idea. I just looked at the appointment book and looked at my totals. And then when I watch him, I'm like, wow, I'm like, I was significantly making more money than him behind the chair because I did hair as a barber. But I'm like, wow, he had a lot more saved than me at
Mhm.
that point in time. And I'm like, started like the dots are connecting, like, oh shit. Had I done that back then, I probably would not have spent or wasted because you don't really know what you make.
Right.
That's the issue. And it would probably be in a better position when I first opened the salons. So what's next for you and your coaching and like, what do you got going on?
Um,
Do you ever want to break out of this industry and break into like the service industry as whole? Because I feel like your business acumen and your ability to like, really crunch numbers is pretty solid, pretty strong.
yeah, it's funny. A lot of like business mindset people who I hop on the phone with are always like, Kate, after talking to you, you're not the loudest like on social, and that's probably where I fall behind. And like, I'm not getting seen as by as many salon owners as I wish wish I was. But they're like, holy shit! Like when I talk to you, like you know what you do, and I do. So I love this industry. Like it is my heart and soul. Like I truly feel like I was placed on this earth, like to be here. Just in the salon. I love salons. It's like it's my thing.
I remember being a little kid and in the malls where I used to get my hair cut, and you could smell the perms from like the other side of the mall as you got closer to it. And I just remember sitting there like just loving the energy in a salon and the atmosphere. It's just something special about it. Even like when I was because I lived in Thailand and I did hair first and I went to the Marine Corps. And then while I was in the Marines, we're in Thailand and we're walking around the streets, like going bar to bar and just being stupid Marines. And we walk past this hair salon. And I'm like, hey, you want to go in there? And they're like, for what? I'm like, let's go talk to the girls in there. And so we walk in and everyone's joking around and we're like, come on out, hang out with us. It's like a fun night. And they were laughing. No, we can't go. I was like, well, I'll tell you what, if I could do her hair better than you, now I have a shaved head, tattooed up. I'm with a bunch of Marines. And they probably thought we were kidding. Will you come out with us? They were like, sure. Took her to the sink, washed her hair, started rough drying her, sectioned it off, and their jaws dropped.
Right. And they're like, what?
And they're like, what the fuck? And then my friends who used to break my balls in the Marine Corps, they're like, that was the coolest thing ever. Like, you got to show me how to do that. But I was like, it's a skill anywhere. It's like something magical, like when you could do someone's hair and change the way they feel about themselves. And like they walk in your salon and they feel like shit, like they're either going through a divorce or a breakup or something happened at work. And like you just do this magic and they leave your chair through conversation, through the energy transfer. It's like there's no other industry like it.
Right.
And this is why I love our industry. And people ask me the same question, like, why don't you do this for other people? I'm like, I don't know. There's something special about this industry that I couldn't see myself really doing anything else. Like I could do lots of things probably, I'm sure. Like I love AI, I love technology, I love our marketing. Like that's my other area. Like your strength is probably numbers, I would say. And then mine would be the marketing aspect and like learning how to use AI to our advantage with automations and shit like that. Because I could watch that and study that for days.
Yeah, we should connect on that because like I tell people like do not work with me and like I'm not gonna like fill your book in 30 days with new clients. Like that's not my thing. I'm gonna help you figure out what's happening in your business now, hire, train, retain, and grow your business. Yeah. But like, yeah, I'm not like a marketing guru.
Yeah, marketing's my thing where they're asking me numbers. I'm like, all right, here's what you need. Profit first. All right, make this money, take profit, pay yourself as an owner. What's left over, that's for all your expenses. It's pretty basic, pretty simple. And then there's like cash flow projections. It just doesn't excite me because I know how to do it. I'm like, how do you not get it? And that's like when it comes to being an owner, like what you said before about having the notebook. So you knew where you were. Let's start with 6 clients a week. Yeah. It's like, I got to go back into the beginning. Like, all right, how did I save up enough money to actually buy the salon? And how did I get to $100,000 a month? Like, what did I not spend on? What did I do? And I had a conversation with a future owner 2 weeks ago, maybe last week. And it's funny, you'll probably laugh at this because he did the numbers using ChatGPT and using all like different tools. And his estimated profit was $600,000 a year for an 8-chair salon. I was like, that's interesting. I was like, your rent is $6,000 a month, or like high fives. And I was like, the person, like, you don't do hair yourself, and your significant other is only doing maybe a couple $100 a week behind the chair. I was like, I don't think those numbers are too accurate. I was like, you're already going to be, now you're taking a loan out for the build out. And before we even went on, I was like, don't do this. Do not buy that. Not even buy it. Like, don't lease that space. Don't do the build out, because you're going to take a $400,000 loan out to do a build out. You'll spend every dollar, first off.
Mm-hmm.
Try and build the salon out for $60,000 if you could.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have 400,000, you're going to spend 400,000. Don't use that money to build a salon out.
Yeah.
They had like some retirement. They wanted to cash out. I'm like, wow, this is a disaster. You don't do hair. Your wife doesn't really do hair either. They're not busy. And this is going to be a nightmare for everybody involved in it. So I think a lot of owners think like, hey, in a perfect world, if I have 10 chairs, X amount of dollars per chair, and if we stay open 5 days a week or 7 days a week, that this is how much you're going to make. It just that never works out like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad. But that's why I think a lot of people fail in the first, year or two, because it's not a perfect scenario. So what advice do you have to give other than tracking your numbers down in that realm for owners? Like, when they have these, we're all optimistic, right? We're entrepreneurs. We have to have the big vision, the big dream. How do you bring someone back down? What are the things you like to ask them, or how do you get a chance? How do you speak to them so they can realize, hey, all right, this is going to be a little harder than I thought to hit this profit level?
Yeah, especially someone opening new, being new to the business. I truly believe that, like, you have to have done it yourself to some capacity. So, and if you haven't, then buy an existing salon who has done some of it themselves. So you can just buy, if you're going to have $400,000 to dump, buy a great salon for sale. So you can already move into a working machine. But like,
I love that you said that. I fucking love that you just said
if you're going to be out of beauty school, like, number one, you got to work for someone else. I worked for 5 people. I was like, I love the way they organize their towels. I love the way they have, little things like that. That's going to set you apart. But you're walking into a brand new space and you have no idea like how to organize your stuff and organize your inventory. Like, pick up every freaking thing that you can. I read a book that was The Mindset of Millionaires, and he wanted to own a bakery. So what did he do? He's a millionaire. He doesn't need to make money, but he wanted to own a bakery. So he walked into a bakery and started working there. Quickly found out, definitely don't want to own a bakery. It doesn't smell as good if you walk in every day. Like, same deal. Like, work inside of your business before you own it.
So that's the advice that I give to anyone who wants to own a salon. I find one that is someone's ready to retire, and then that should be your first salon. Start like you can start from scratch. But it's so much easier just to not have to do the plumbing, not have to pull permits. It's already operating. So I tell them to, anyone can take this advice too, but you can tell me your opinion on it. Find out your old aunt or your grandmother or your friend's grandmother or someone's older relative. Ask them where they get their hair done. Typically, they're going to go to an older salon. Typically, that older salon, they're like old school. So their business acumen isn't as great. They're still behind the chair. They're 78 years old. Yeah. It's like, hey, Barbara, I would love to maybe help you with this salon. Do you want to sell it? Do you want to get rid of it? Like, what's your story? Well, I don't know. I still want to do hair, but I'm tired of like dealing with everyone. Maybe you could work here. I'll let you keep almost all your commission. You keep everything you make behind the chair. Let me just take it over. And then you do a lease swap, no money out of pocket. You give them whatever they have in color, and the chairs probably need to be upgraded anyway. So now you have a salon that's bringing in revenue because there's already employees in there, and you slowly just change the culture. And then you get it. Like, I learned a lot of cool shit when I did this. I did this already. That's why I'm telling you this. And it worked. From that older owner. Like, there were things that like were done 50 years ago that were just the way they did the ticket system, the way she did the payroll. Like, there was no ADP. I was like, wow, but you actually see exactly how profitable you were every single night. Yeah, every night she knew her profits. And like, that's why she stayed in business so long. It was awesome to see. Like, I love that whole system, and I still use it today. Because back then it was all cash too. So years ago, how detailed you had to be because people would steal from you, because literally it was just all cash. And nowadays it's all credit card for the most part. And so you have a report you can run, and then those reports don't really give you, I think, a true number of how much you're truly keeping and what you're making in the salon. But that old school ticket system, like everyone's numbers on one big sheet of paper, and then totaled up what their commission was for the day, products were used, and then at the bottom right-hand corner was that day's profit.
Yeah.
And if I took her like maybe a half hour, if that, 20 minutes at the end of the night, and then she had a pretty good career. Like, it was wild.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah. It's like I said, this business is great. It's amazing. So how can people find you if someone's struggling and like numbers, like they have a busy salon, they're just not profiting, or they want to actually learn how to sell their location? Like, how can someone reach out to you? Where can they find you online?
Yeah, Instagram is the best place. I like Instagram for messaging better than TikTok, but Salon Nerd, just at Salon Nerd, we can book a free salon audit, hop on a call, talk to me or my team, and we'll learn all about your business. If my systems will work for you, right? It wouldn't work for the owner who like wants to open or is thinking about opening. It wouldn't work for the owner who has booth rent. It's employee based.
Okay. So commission, employee based, or hourly too? Would you do both?
Yeah, commission and hourly, any employee.
Do you see an hourly resurgence coming in? Like $20 an hour, $33 an hour, and paying people according to that?
Slightly. And only for the salons who in Canada that I work with in California, obviously. But in Canada, whenever I asked the owner, like, we can switch them to commission, she said, I asked, and they just feel good at being hourly.
I've had a couple conversations like this already, and I find it interesting. I'm like, like, just only because I was always a commission stylist. And it's like, everyone, I get paid by the hour. I'm thinking that if a salon's busy, I think it's a pretty cool business model to do.
Yeah. So the way that I structure my pay scales and that I help salon owners structure their pay scales is you are able to have a conversation with any employee in your business, even a potential new hire, and say, if you're level 1, based on 40% commission, you'll average anywhere from $22 to $28 an hour plus your tips. That's on commission. That's on commission, right? So it reflects to an hourly rate. Whenever you move up to level 2, based on our, let's say, 43% commission and the price increase, you will average anywhere from $32 to $40 an hour on your 43% commission plus your tips. Once you get to level 5, 6, you can actually average anywhere from 60, depending on what the prices are, to 80. So like, we have to paint the picture, and no salon owners paint the picture. They say, yeah, we go up to 50. When? Well, when I feel like it. Well, what does that mean? I don't know. No idea how much you're gonna make. So like, I had that conversation with an employee who was like, well, the salon down the street is offering 60. And I was like, when are they gonna pay you 60? What do you have to do?
Yeah.
He doesn't know. Right. The salon that she was coming from as well also went up to 60, quote unquote, went up to 60, and they didn't have the actual data. So I won that employee over by being able to say, like, no, I can't pay you 60, but whenever you're level 3, you already have 4 years of experience. You'll be there like this. You will make this, you will average this many dollars an hour plus your tips on my low commission, whatever, 48, like whatever. But sold, right?
I want to ask you one last question before we let you go. What is the biggest issue when it comes to pricing that you feel salon owners trap themselves in? Like, when you talk to owners and all your experience now speaking to a bunch of different owners, when it comes to like pricing structure, what's like one of the most common things you see always popping up that is holding them back?
To make that most simple, whenever I put your prices in my calculator, you guys make you make less amount of money on the long ass services, balayage or classic, hybrid full set, or the facial that takes you 3 hours. And you guys make the most money on the things that take you like 30 minutes, or like the root touch-ups. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. It should be even or more.
So I do something similar. I price down how much it costs per minute for my chair to actually be operating in the salon.
Same.
And then, okay, cool. And then I figure, like, all right, cool. Well, this highlighting service, they're there. Plus I do processing time. So now we can be like, while she's in your chair, you're doing the hair, you should be charging this much money.
Yes.
On average. And then if you're experienced, we just jump it up. And so I do it on how much experience times like a percentage of how much I want to profit from that person.
Right. So like, we have to figure out how much your salon costs. So in a perfect world, I didn't do it either. I should have figured out what my costs of running my business would have been, just to keep the lights on, to give me like a targeted metric on how much I priced. But I didn't do that. I was like, So I'm down the streets 50, I'm 45, like, let's go. That's what I did because demand, right?
That's so funny. It's so pricing down to the minute. I have a calculator too. It's on my website if you wanted to access it ever. You could pick it apart for me. Like I figure out like how many chairs in the salon, put in all your expenses, and then it comes down to like a minute for people to kind of get an idea.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, all right, I don't like pricing by the hour. I don't like hourly pricing when I do my menu. I think I charge for the result. I think people are shooting themselves in the foot when you do like by the hour pricing.
I think that has left the industry. It got real sexy and hot for a second, but like I haven't heard it or seen it for a long time. And I haven't even talked to a lot of owners in the past year that like do the hourly pricing. I think another coaching company might have been teaching.
Yeah, I had a client. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like you're no tips, doesn't take tips, and went to hourly.
Yeah, like you can't beat free. I mean, give me some free, like tip always, accept the tip.
Yeah, why don't you want to take money from people?
Yeah, like let's take.
He's like, yeah, we said no tips. People still want to give us money. I'm like, what do you do? He's like, oh, I tell them we don't take tips. I'm like, are you fucking out of your mind?
Right.
I was like, what are you doing? People are giving you money. God, you're asking the universe for abundance, and you're saying, nah, I don't want it.
Right, he's gonna give it to someone else. You know that.
And so he was doing the hourly pricing model. I think he that first year was down $70,000. His personal income, like what he was taking home.
Yeah,
like,
and that was like around like COVID, like I think like around COVID time when that got like interesting. But you're right. I don't want anyone to try to like align Kate with a dollar sign, 150 an hour, because that's what I'm gonna do. If they're like Nick haircut 150, I'm gonna be like, so look, you know what I mean? Does he look like he's worth 150? If I can pay 150 for him, like no, like give me what I want to pay for the look, for the style. For
yes. I tell people when people ask you why your pricing is so high, I'm like, my haircuts are 150, so you don't have to pay for another haircut after my haircut. It's not because I'm doing a bob. I'm doing a bob so it doesn't get fucked up and you have to go somewhere else to get it fixed. It's insurance. That's what you're paying for. All the experience. You may get the same type of haircut at the Lemon Tree for $30. There may be some amazing superstar there, but I'm guaranteeing that this is going to be an amazing haircut. So owners, when you price yourselves out, you start raising prices, like be confident in that pricing. Like you have to deliver on that result.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because like the salon down the street, well, they're $300 for a highlight. So I'm going to be $300 for a highlight.
Right.
And don't even do that. Just figure out what your numbers are for your rent. Because my salon, my main headquarters, the rent is so inexpensive. It literally, it's a joke. It's a little over 2,000 square foot space in like a really expensive, wealthy area in New Jersey. My first year here was $1,750 a month. It was bananas. And my friend had a space a little bit smaller than mine, and his rent was like $7,000, 3 miles that way.
Yeah, I'm in Pittsburgh, and it's twice as much as that.
Yeah. So it's like when you go to rent or lease your area to own a salon, I focus on the marketing. Do not get street like on Main Street. You're not going to get walk-in traffic like you used to. Everyone does their research. I would much rather you get not a shitty location, but a location with good parking down the street a little bit, kind of maybe off a side street, that if someone Googles it and puts in their maps or their Waze, they will find you, because that's what they're doing, and then save that $6,000 a month you would pay in rent to be in the middle of town, and just use that for marketing for the first couple months and then peel that back. Because once you pay your rent, it does not go down. It goes up a percentage every year. So
yeah, I agree with that.
All right, so it was awesome chatting with you. Finally got a chance to meet you. I've been following you for a while.
Real quick, Nick, did you cover the topic that you wanted to cover in the beginning of the show?
Which one?
I don't remember exactly what it was.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we did. It was the Instagram post.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah, because people are talking shit about commission salons, and I think you just had a bad owner. It's like, hey, all guys are douchebags. I'm never going to date a guy again because my last boyfriend cheated on me and he's a jerk off.
Right.
Okay, well, not every commission salon's bad. And some people need to have that companionship and do want to have a boyfriend again one day in their life. So, like,
right. And to anyone who like took the balls to go out and own a suite, like kudos to you. And it's okay if it didn't work out. Like I've also opened things and tried things, and I created an online course 4 years ago and I launched it on Black Friday and no one bought it. So like, guess what? It's okay to do things and fail, but it got you to wherever you are today. It's totally fine. I
do talk shit about suites sometimes, but guys, I love suites. I think it's a great business model for some people. I think it's a great stepping stone for you. But I think as you refine your business acumen, and I think the best thing to me as an entrepreneur is to pour that into somebody else and really grow a team.
Mhm.
And so a suite's a great spot to start in. I do feel that the suite industry, not all companies, right? Salon Lofts is actually a great company. I did a video for them for their suite renters not long ago. They really care about people who rent their suites a lot, but there's a lot of companies out there who just want to take advantage of you and jump on this bandwagon. And so they're going to sell you the dream. And if you want to like rebuttal with us about commission salons, just drive around to all the areas where there's tons of suites and count how many are empty.
Yeah.
And it's sad. Like people come in 3 months, they get sold the dream, and it's just not what it worked out. It's not how it worked out in their vision of how it would have played out. But I think that suites, there is a place for them. And I think there's a place for commission salons and there's a place for rental salons. And I think we're all going to start finding our own home. And I think it's cool no matter where you work.
Mhm.
What works for you, it works for you. That's great.
For sure.
So, all right, Kate, Salon Nerd on TikTok, on Instagram, follow her. She's a wealth of knowledge. If you guys are struggling with any kind of profit issues, she's a girl to talk to.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, guys. See you later.
Bye.